Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
Why don't we just get into what we do around here? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that time to talk about The Bachelor on our show! Ha 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 ha! Yes. Oh, man. This show provides you with all the Bachelor stuff you've been wanting and needing after watching that show. But before we get talking about Bachelor Nation, YouTube, I'm going to need you to go ahead and subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelor content, just like this. And if you just did, oh, man, what? Huge shout out to you. Ooh-wee. Air horns for you. Oh, man. You know what it is, V. We have to shout out to our comment crew, of course, and those are the people that leave us comments on our previous week's videos. You know, the Nancy Drew crew, the VIP crew of the family, Catherine Ann, Chelsea Allen, Kathleen Kent. What up? You know, Marion SP's been, you know, coming in there.
She's coming in.
You know, hopefully
maybe she can be inducted into the
Nancy Drew crew. I don't know. I have to see some cross mingling here. Like, you know, this ain't Mean Girls or anything, but you know, I'm pretty sure the Nancy Drew crew will welcome people in with open arms. Marion SP, we got a new, you know, commenter in the crew, Mona Walters. Hopefully I said that right. I think I did. Mona, what's up? And also shout out to Elle, who just likes to be the letter. Maybe that's her name.
You know what? We love that for them.
I know people named Elle, but not just the letter, but you know, that's cool. That's a cool nickname. But if you'd like to get shouted out on the show, it's very easy. Just like everyone that just got shouted out, they left a comment on our videos. So just leave a comment right there. Let us know you're brand new, you just subscribed, and join us in the family. You get a shout out every week as long as, you know, you're, you know, joining the conversation with us. So we love that. You know, go ahead and do that right now. You know, just get it out the way. Give us that thumbs up. Be like, I just thumbs up to you. You guys are the best. And I'll cry with happiness. Enjoy.
Wow.
V, you know, what are we getting into this week? This was a kind of a roller coaster of a week for me. Not just for me, but it looks like some cast members on the show. Where do we start with all this?
Yeah, so we're fully into week 3. You know, we start off with some gratuitous shower scenes. I wonder if we're going to get that every episode. I hope we do not. I hate the shower scenes.
You don't like the shower scenes?
No, I've never liked them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm not a big fan of them. I mean, these ones, at least maybe on The Bachelorette, we'll see if they
all right.
keep the theme going. But yeah, I mean, I hear you. You know, he seems like he has to check in with his homie Sean Lowe.
Yeah, I feel like they're really milking the whole, like, look, Sean Lowe, successful relationship. We're trying to set Zach up for success. And also, like, the theme of this episode is looking for a best friend. Like, that is what he says the entire episode. That's what he says to people when he breaks up with them. That's what he says to people when he's getting deeper with them.
Yeah, I did notice that. I was like, dude, come on. I get it. Your best friend, but like...
My thing is, like, who are his other friends?
Yeah,
Does
do you
he
not have a best friend?
Do
like,
you have a
does the best friend have to, like, be in a, you know... sexual relationship with you or something? Like,
yeah, I mean, it seems a little sus to me.
Yeah, so that happens. We get that interaction. Where do we start with the women?
So with the dates, we start, like, Jesse makes this way more dramatic than it needs to be. He, like, rolls in being all like, how was, you know, first week of dates, ladies? And they're like, yeah, great, yeah, whatever. And he's all like, so the date isn't happening today because it's happening tonight. And you can tell all the girls are like, what the fuck? Well, no shit, dude. Like, if it was happening to, like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
like, come on. Which then, you know, so he brings out the first date card and he tells them that they're going to have 3 dates that week. They're going to have 2 one-on-ones and a big group date. So, i.e. a group date that includes everybody but the people who go on the one-on-ones. Mm-hmm. So he gives out the first date card and it goes to Kaity with a Y. And, you know, and it says, like, well, let's have a love across the ages. I'm getting so good at guessing these things because I said, like, on my Tipsy Talks, follow our Instagram, on our Tipsy Talks, I literally said when they read that card, I was like, it's going to be a museum.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I didn't even catch that, but that's genius.
I know. And it was a museum. They're doing night at the museum kind of vibes. And it's hilarious because, like, everything they say on this date, like Kaity and Zach, sounds like sounds like a really like canned response on a dating app. Like, I love experiences. Like, like,
so you're alive.
Like, yeah, like you seem like a girl that is fun. Like, what? No shit. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, I mean, it was an interesting date. What I thought was interesting, I'm like, why are they whispering? Like, they're like whispering like the whole time, like the mastodons were gonna come charging in or something.
And then like or the mountain goats that Kaity loved so much were gonna like just pop out or something.
I agree with her. I am weirdly fascinated with mountain goats. Have you seen like videos of them and stuff? Like, they're freaking scary and big. Like, they're like the size of moose and they're goats.
And they can like just hop around like these teeny tiny areas of mountains. It's crazy.
Don't they got like horns?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy out there. They look like some Middle Earth animals, like straight up, like they should have. Or I mean, I guess they were in a museum, but yeah, God. I mean, they're having a good old time in there. The whole place is locked down for them. You know, I thought she was kind of shooting herself in the foot at one point when she started talking about her ex and all that stuff. I'm like, you don't talk about your ex on the first date.
At their dinner, she kind of goes into how, you know, she was in like toxic relationships, so she's never felt worthy of love, or like because like he was asking like, you know, like, what are you looking for? Like, what is like whatever. And she's all like, oh, I just like want to blah, blah, blah. Like, is very basic level shit. And he's all like, you deserve more than base level stuff. Like, she's like, well, like tiny violin comes out and she's like, well, I was made to feel like I didn't, like blah blah blah. And like, you know,
so I mean, even then, like, I mean, maybe not in the moment, but as a viewer, you're like, what's wrong with her? Like, you know,
yeah, like, where's the catch?
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, you can't. I mean, it's never like just one-sided, I feel like, you know. Maybe it could be like she's just getting like emotionally abused by like, but it's like at some point like you have to take a little responsibility of like the people you're picking or staying in a relationship with.
Right.
You know, so for it to be so toxic, it's like,
I feel like people do overuse the word toxic. Like
I'm glad you said it.
Like,
I'm glad you said it.
Huh?
I'm glad you said it.
I think they do. Like, I think, you know, because she was like, I was toxic. He was toxic. We were toxic together. Like, you know, that kind of stuff. And like, I think, you know, I think everybody can fall into a toxic tendency here and there. Like, obviously everybody's human. No one is perfect. But like, then at that point, then what is she trying to say about her ex then? Like, I don't know. Like, what? Did he do something awful? Were you just like still trying to find yourself and didn't know how to stand up for yourself too? Like,
also, like, why are you even bringing him onto this platform, bringing him up on this platform? Like, yeah,
you know, don't even give him the time of day.
Right.
Like, I think there's a way to like talk about maybe relationship trauma, because the show is like about trauma bonding, obviously. I think there's a way to bring that up that, I don't know, is a bit better, but obviously, like, I feel like it's hard to do that when you're just like self-motivated, because otherwise, like, I feel like the only time like I've personally been able to like talk about it in like great, you know, detail is like after therapy and stuff like that. But, you know, so it's a weird dynamic to see people try to self-therapize on a national TV show as they're sitting in a museum eating dinner, and like, you know, then they're about to go camp out next to.
What do you think? What do people use as a term before toxic? Before the word toxic came, like, what did we?
I think people just didn't self-therapize as much on this show. Like, I'm just
saying, like, in general, like in the zeitgeist, what did people use to describe the relationships that were like, now we have the word toxic?
I think they would probably just say bad. Like, I think like literally people just weren't even. I don't think people analyzed it the same way that we do now. Like, unless it was like to the level of abuse, I really don't think people always, I don't think we, you know, had the tools back, you know, when this show first was popular to even like have the analysis for that kind of stuff.
That's deep and interesting. Well, yeah, you had already mentioned it. They end up going to, like, he's like, well, you want this rose? And he was like, I'm not ready for this night to end. Would you want to have a sleepover in a tent in this museum with the mastodons behind us and stuff? And it was pretty cute. Like, it was cute. Yeah. But, you know, the beds are like separated. Of course, like she mentioned, she's like, we should put these beds together. And they do. Do you think they did it? Do you think she saw Balzac? do you think he shall crush her? Stop it. Oh man.
I mean, I don't think so. I feel like they must have talked and cuddled and shit all night. They definitely were making out. But I don't know what else maybe there was more, you know, maybe some other bases were rounded, but I don't think a home run was hit.
You think there was a booby touch?
I think there might have been a booby touch. They're in some silky pajamas.
Whoa. That's awesome. Good for you, Zach. I think Zach is you know, under control here. He knows how to navigate this season so far that we've seen. I mean, honestly, if you're trying to get the girls to go crazy, you have a sleepover date like that, you know. But
oh yeah,
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Stumbling back in, like, because everyone's freaking out. They're all like, we didn't think she'd be gone like this late, which, you know, that means like they either, like, the producers or stuff had them stay up hella late too, like being all like, why don't you guys wait for Kaity? Like, don't you want to hear about her date? And then
that's messed up.
You know, that has to be like part of it, like, because otherwise, like, I'm sure, you know, they're told to, I mean, they have to, like, they have certain hours that they have to.
I know they were mentioning her bag still being there and stuff, so that was like something they had to look at all night, that just sat there, and obviously it wasn't getting taken away, or she wasn't coming to get it. So yeah. You know, she comes back in the next morning, walk of shame, super tired because they probably didn't sleep. Like, I mean, why would you sleep? Like, you have the whole night and then you have the whole day while he's like hanging out with whoever else to sleep in, you know?
Right, so. Exactly. Like, so, and she, I mean, yeah, and she definitely, like, was pretty coy about it. She just said, you know, minimal, which good for her. Yeah, like, we don't know. We don't know what happened, but...
I know, but she was a little exaggerating of like, oh, I'm so tired. I didn't get a wink of sleep.
They're all like, you didn't get any sleep? She's like, not any.
Not
and like,
a
they're all
wink.
like, well.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens next?
So we have our group date. We get the group date card. You know, everybody's like awaiting who's going to be the one name left off. And the one name left off is Allie. So we know she gets the one-on-one date later in the week. But... we have, you know, they say there's no rules in the game of love, which we know that means we've got another Bachelor Bowl. It's Bachelor Bowl V.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna get my crowd cheering for it, because this is what I heard the whole time during that segment. I was like, there's no way there's enough people there in that crowd to be cheering like this.
No, I know. They must have literally just had that like with a little like weight on it, just playing on loop.
Yeah. Because I was like, when I did see like some like wide shots, it just looked like, you know, I'm like, this is definitely doesn't match the sound effects that are coming through here.
It doesn't make any sense. So, you know, they brought some Chargers former NFL players to help coach the teams. They have their team names are the Shell Crushers, like Shell Cross, and the Balzacs, which is honestly hilarious. That is like the best thing. Like
the Balzacs, dude, I swear, like sometimes like the producers, this must have been a fun day for the producers. Like they're like coming up with a whole bunch of names and they're just brainstorming, and like, you know, like in a brainstorm, like nothing is a bad idea. So people are just like, what about the Balzacs, like ball sacks? And they're like, and it probably had the room dying for like longer than probably should.
Like when I like realized, like, because I was like Shell Crushers, okay, Shell Cross, and then I like saw the other name, I'm like Balzac, and I was like, oh my god. And they're blue too, like blue balls.
Gotta love a good brainstorm. Yeah, so yeah, they're blue too, so blue balls. Oh man. So yeah, I mean, these girls were kind of going in though. This is probably the most violent, like bowl I've seen on the show.
I know they were not messing around, and you had who was it at first who might have did a little bit of the like exaggerated an injury to like get a little bit of extra sideline time with Zach. I forget, but
I think it was Anastasia.
Oh yeah, it was Anastasia. Good
Dude,
job.
who is beautiful, by the way. I know she was like probably one of the ones that stood out in the beginning, but like, I mean, man, there's some beautiful girls on here right now. It's crazy.
It's nuts. But so she did that, a classic move.
Everyone saw right through it.
Yeah, like even they had Morgan, Storm, whatever that girl's name that helps like do the announcing. She was all games. Like, seems like she's got some good strategy.
Yeah.
And
we got a girl out there peeing herself.
Yeah, Gabby like peed herself a little. I'm like, let's do some Kegels, ladies. Like, let's get it together. Let's get that pelvic floor straight. But you know, these girls are going after it. Christina said that she's been doing CrossFit since she was 11, which seems untrue and unsafe. But that's okay.
I mean,
whatever,
she was
bitch.
tossing that tire around like pretty aggressively.
I know, but there's just no way she's been doing CrossFit since she was 11. I could get like 16.
You know Christina's personality. She's going to over-exaggerate everything.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I could see it bubbling up. Like, I mean, obviously we'll get to the end of the episodes in a bit, but like, you know, as someone that could like in the past was kind of like a Christina, like personality wise, like always just wanting to be center of attention and just like really just standing out, trying to, you know, do too much probably. I could see this like happening with her, you know, every time she's like on an interview, you know, she's going in like, like, you know, doing too much, you know? So these were kind of like, you know, this stuff kind of creeping into what we're going to see later on in the episode with all the women. But yeah, I mean, Christina she got in there and, you know, there were some pretty hard sacks going on in this game. Yeah,
some whole sacks from the Balzacs, if you will.
Ooh, nice.
But so the blue team prevails, and so they get the after party. They're excited. It includes Christina and a couple others. One of the people, so like they go to their little after party. They're having a fine time. Already Christina's getting on people's nerves though, because she keeps like referencing her one-on-one date. She keeps being all like, how are you guys feeling about the rose? Like, I don't know how this works because I haven't been on a group date yet. I've been on a one-on-one date. So, like, I know like when that rose came out on that, like I was feeling whatever kind of way.
Yo!
And everyone's like, bitch, everyone's like, really? Like, really? Like, they're like, what the fuck? They're like, girl. And, like, so you could tell people are starting to get annoyed. But it doesn't hit a fever pitch until a little bit later. But Bailey goes, because she's freaking out, because she's like, I feel like, you know, he met me on after the final rose. Like, we kind of had good chemistry that first night and stuff, but things seem to be waning. So she has a conversation.
I didn't understand this. Like, I really didn't. Like, I mean, what was her situation any different than a lot of the other women? I think there has to be something that we're not seeing.
Yeah, I wonder because, like, she seemed, like, really in her head. She seemed like things were, like, waning, going off. Her and Zach start to have a conversation about it. And you could tell, like, it's heading towards, like, breakup. And then Davia comes in to, like, swoop in. I think it was Davia, or I don't remember who it was.
No, it was Ariel.
Ariel.
Who is Ariel? Beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah. She comes in, she swoops in to like steal some time. And then like Zach's like, we're going to have to finish this conversation later. And like Bailey's like, and she's freaking out. And then.
Because like the reason why I say like it seems like something else had to have happened is that like, you know, she's beautiful and like, you know, I don't know, like it just seems like why is he not even giving her a chance or like fighting at all for her? Like,
I guess
they must have had some probably bad conversations maybe I guess because then when they do talk again, he pretty much like lets her down easy by using like time is so precious, like we just don't have enough time and like I feel like I have to go, like I don't want to like keep you here when I'm going to want to focus more on these stronger connections. And I just don't feel like we have that anymore. And she's like, okay. And so she deuces. And then he heads back being all like, you know, Bailey's gone. You know, I'm serious about this, which I feel like he's made it very well known. He's like, I'm looking for my best friend. And I'm not looking for just a friend. I'm looking for my best one.
Best friend, because
one.
I don't have any. And he gets ready to give out the group date rose. And of course, like, Christina's already sitting there, like, smirking. And he ends up giving it to Charity. And Charity's like, everyone's like, oh, congrats, girl, whatever. And Christina's all like, I'm confused.
I mean, dude, it's good TV, though. I like it. Like,
I don't get it. And, like, everyone's like, what?
Do you think she was, like, drunk this whole episode?
I thought I was getting the rose.
Do you think she was drunk this whole episode? Like,
she seemed drunk when she was going through that part, for sure. She definitely seemed a little,
she seemed like drunk during the rose ceremony, like.
Oh, yeah. It seemed like it was late. Like, the after party definitely seemed like it was late. Everybody was tired. They had been, running themselves ragged during that football game.
I mean, she was also downing glasses of champagne, like tossing them back, like bottoms up.
So, I mean, I think they might still have the, like, hour rule or, like, 2 per hour. But, like, if maybe they don't, who's to say? And if they're there for a lot of hours, and if you're tiny or something, you've been getting no sleep, those drinks are going to start to hit a little bit quicker. But so she's like being like, I'm confused. I thought I was going to get the rose because of my 101. And, like, people are like, I think it was Brooklyn started kind of going in and being all like, all right, I got to shoot you straight, girl. Like, we get it. Like, you're doing this.
They were shooting her straight before that, though. Like, so she's like, I'm going to shoot you straight again. Yeah,
she said, I'm going to shoot you straight again. Like, we know that you've had the, like, but, like, can't you see, like, poor Charity's crying, leaves the room because she's like, what the fuck? She's like, can't you, like, see, like, obviously, like, you're going to, like, take away Charity's moment. And, like, she got this rose fair and square. Like, he chose who he was going to give a rose to. Like, what are you doing? And, like, it's not, like, all about you, sis. And, like, whatever. They're all, like, kind of, like, starting to go in. And it is, interesting that it seems like, the two people that she's been pitted against in these situations happen to be black women.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. Actually, that probably, I didn't even think about that, actually, to be honest. But, that could have been something that was brought up to Zach and not even mentioned really on the show. I could see that. Yeah. Being a thing, it's a sensitive subject to Bachelor in general, right. But, yeah, no, I mean, totally. I mean, if you look at it through that lens, her being like, I don't get it, seems really messed up. Right. But, they all kind of like, they all are huffy puffy angry at the end. And that's kind of what we see the end of that. But then we get our one-on-one date with Allie, who I didn't even know was in this cast of women. I couldn't have picked her out until they had this one-on-one date. I will be honest. I had no idea who she was until they're like, Allie, and they showed her in this screen. And I was all like, sure, bet, that is Allie. Yeah, I mean, how did that go? Because I'm not going to lie, I skipped through that whole date. Like, I was like fast-forwarding. I have to be honest, with these date cards, they be doing like a cop knock. Like, it is a hard knock. Freaking everybody out. The shit out of these girls every single time. Yeah, it's supposed to be The Bachelor, not Scream 6. I know. I know. So, like, they're all being, like, scared shitless. And so, like, this time for Allie's date, she gets, like, a box with her date card, and it has, like, a little lacy jumpsuit, like a wedding jumpsuit situation that she has to wear. And they head out, and they head to, like, a skydiving, like, runway airplane hangar situation. And they're all, like, gonna leap into love together. And they do that whole bit. And so they go skydiving. The entire time I saw another podcast Instagram account, Date Card Pod, they had posted something being all like, isn't anybody else still traumatized from, like, when Rachel Kirkconnell and Matt James' season, like, almost, like, totally, like, got, like, slammed into the ground when she landed? Like, can we not remember that part? Oh, yeah. I do. And I was like, damn, you're right. But they landed safely. Thank God. They got to have their little middle of the field hot tub because, why wouldn't you? It's The Bachelor. And then they do their dinner, and their dinner is definitely like a very run-of-the-mill dinner. Zach once again is saying very, like,
nondescript things, being like, you seem like a fun, confident girl. And she's all like, I guess I have you fooled because, like, I'm actually a control freak and I've been in some really bad, toxic, controlling relationships that, like, you know, made me feel like I have to perform and be like this. And, like, and then, you know, but they feel like they get deeper. And then they watch Griffin Palmer, who's some random country artist, perform to them from, like, a balcony.
Griffin Palmer.
Griffin Palmer.
That sounds like one of the teams in this, like, Bachelor Bowl.
I know. Palmer, I don't even know her.
Whoa! I love it. Great. Yeah, you know, that's why you're a great host on this show. This is amazing. So where do we go from there?
So Jesse stops by the house the next day and is, you know, comes bearing the news that Zach feels like he needs more fun time with the ladies to, like, you know, give them the time that they need to, like, you know, get to know them and make the decisions he needs to make at the rose ceremony. And so he's all like, instead of a cocktail party, we're getting a pool party. Put your bikinis on, bitches. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I was excited for this part.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean,
it seems like Zach was too. He almost fell to his knees when he walked in with all his women in their teeny tiny bikinis.
Yeah, it was wild. Like this is the best looking cast I've seen in a long time. I don't know which one's my favorite. They're all my favorites. Like I don't even know how he's getting rid of women. Like
the way he is, because he is getting rid of them at a good clip.
He's got so many beautiful women that he's getting rid of beautiful women. It's insane to me. But I mean, like so many beautiful women left this week, and there's so many left. Like, you know,
there's so many left. Well, speaking of one that left, Brianna, during this pool party, like, you know, everyone's having a good time. They're doing the sunscreen bit. They're doing the chicken fight bit. They're doing the whatever. And Brianna pulls him aside at one point and kind of spills the tea. Starts naming some names about some shit that happened. And, you know, says, like, I'm not the only one that feels this way. Talk to Charity and talk to Brooklyn. And she's like, and for these reasons, like, I feel like, you know, I can't be here. There's other shit happening that makes me feel like I don't feel super comfortable, you know. And because they talk initially about, like, she's like, what makes you feel like, you know, you can't talk to me as much or, like, whatever. And he's like, I feel like you have guards up. And she sort of is like, all right, well, these are the things. And they kind of both.
Well, he kind of called her, like, fake a little bit, didn't he? Like,
he just was like, you seem like really guarded and you have, like, all these, like, whatever. And, like,
no, was like, he said something like, it just didn't seem genuine or something. Like, it felt like you were, like, very, like,
which was kind of rude.
Yeah, like, you know, and I didn't feel that way at all. Like, you know, I just felt like maybe she was in her head and maybe she thought, like, he'd be more about her or something like that. And he wasn't, but
they kind of both come to the conclusion that they're not the right fit for each other, which I said last week, which I think is, you know, the right thing, I hope. And she kind of, you know, she drops the tree, drops the bomb, and then kind of just, like, shimmies out. Like, doesn't even really say goodbye to anybody, like, just kind of, like, leaves. It felt like they're like, Brianna is gone. All right.
No, she said bye to people and stuff. They pulled her in and stuff, but I mean, it was quick. Yeah, I mean, she drops a mic on Christina's name, you know, to Zach, and Zach is like very taken aback by the information. And
so he, in his press, like, very well press trained self, comes back, says, like, hey, Brianna's gone, blah, blah, blah. Like, she let me know that there's some stuff happening where people are being made to feel uncomfortable in the house. So I'm going to want to talk to a couple of people, which I have to say, he, like, really, like, made it nice and vague, made it seem like he wanted to talk to, you know, whatever.
Yeah, no, I saw that. And then he's like, Christina, can I talk to you for a second?
Yeah, he talks to Christina first. Christina has her mental breakdown, being all like,
see, this is like, maybe there was more in that conversation that we didn't see, like, you know. I don't know, man. Like now, like the lens that like you've opened me up to, like she was like, I hate you. Like the word hate is just like bad. Like, you know.
Like I have to agree. I think like Brianna might have like overreacted in that instance, but I feel like there had to be more shit happening than just that singular instance.
I mean, just like what we saw from this episode this week, like, you know, or as an audience, like imagine the stuff they cut out, but like, you know, I saw a lot of like,
I mean, like just the way she acted when Charity got a rose, and she's just gonna be like, well, I'm confused. I thought I was getting. You can feel hurt and be like, man, like I'm bummed I didn't get the rose. Like I really feel like that would have validated my connection with him. You don't say, I'm confused. I thought that rose was mine. Like,
yeah, I mean, she was just trying to like blanket it with being like, I'm just being real and honest, but like,
which that's bullshit.
No,
you can
I mean,
be
just
real,
like not having self-awareness, you know, or
you
reading
can be
the room.
Real, and you could be honest, but you don't have to do it in a way that's like so self-centered and so like self-focused, and like it was like kind of coming off malicious because it's all like, I get it. She was like, I'm not here to make friends, whatever. I get that. But also you have to be like, wait, other people still have feelings.
Let's go back a little bit to another incident that involves Christina. What did she say about what was the first girl, Bailey, that left? Well, she said some side remark really quickly about her.
Yeah, she said some like, I mean,
she has a roommate, so
yeah, she was like, I mean, she was our roommate, but
that was inevitable.
I mean, that was inevitable. Yeah.
Like, so something must have happened with Bailey too, or something. Like,
I think she just means like in the, which then if she means just like in the case of like how the show works, like people are going home, okay, but then don't act like you don't know how fucking group date works, like with a group date rose. Like, don't act like you don't know.
Yeah, sure. Good point. Yeah. So, I mean, so I mean, how does it really end with her and Zach? Like, she's kind of like,
she's crying and sobbing. Meanwhile, he goes and talks to Charity in Brooklyn. They're kind of like dropping the tea a little bit that we can hear. And then he ends the pool party because he's upset and confused. And like, meanwhile, she's still crying her eyes out. And we head into the rose ceremony. So, which they totally glossed over. How Genevieve had her arm in a sling. Yeah,
I saw that too. It's like she obviously got really hurt, like in this bowl,
right?
And she's like now there with a sling on. Like they didn't even try to hide her in the back or anything. Like why did they?
Well, I mean, she had to come up and get a rose. They showed her doing that, and we're like, oh.
She was front row. So this, I will tell you, I was surprised by this rose ceremony. Like
I was surprised too.
I mean, the girl that ended up like beating out Christina to go home, like I thought she was definitely gonna go home because I'm like,
I thought Mercedes was gonna go home too because we haven't heard a peep out of her.
Right. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, Christina was the one that went home, right?
Yeah, and I think she was the only one because you know two other girls already went home.
Yeah.
And I think really what really was with Zach when they had their conversation, him and Christina, and like she was like bubbling and babbling and whatever. He was all like, like what this means to me, and like what I have to do. Like I won't, because that was his big thing with Rachel is that like he's like, I'm not gonna deal, like he didn't like the thing that he felt like she sort of like added
different.
Him to the
like she gave him a different version of her that he didn't know existed.
And so he was all like, I can't do this and I can't be having this drama, like I can't be doing this. So like I think he just like had to cut it. And also, I mean, this saves him from having to make a decision down the road if he's ready to be a stepdad. So
yeah, sure. I mean, that's probably another thing that weighed on him. This also, I feel like this by the end of this episode puts him even in a better position to really be finding what he's looking for. I feel like there is women in this mix that do truly, have good chemistry with him and stuff. So, I think this all around, as much as I love Brianna, as much as I think Bailey's beautiful, didn't really enjoy Christina that much, but like, I mean, as entertainment value, she brought it, at least for, the 3 episodes we got her in. This does, as far as like the game of The Bachelor goes traditionally, frame them to be in a better position, I feel.
Christina's for sure going to be on the beach. She's for sure going to be a Bachelor in Paradise.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would think Brianna would be too, if not the Bachelorette. Maybe, do you think they pick Christina as the Bachelorette?
No.
No?
No.
I don't know.
I would be surprised, but she screams. I mean, her job title is content creator. That screams more Bachelor in Paradise than not.
Yeah, I wonder, do you feel her like campaigning for the Bachelorette during her tenure on the shows as of the 3 episodes?
Maybe a little, but like, I mean, I think she was just trying to be the winner, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so they showed us scenes from next week, and as they started rolling, I was like, who's like, you know, like whenever a villain gets like banished, you know, I always think like, who's next up? Because it's always, that's what you know. One villain goes down, another one arises.
Yeah.
So I was
looks like it's going to be somebody, I don't know if it's Gabby or somebody, or Greer or somebody, one of the other, like I think it's a girl with like brownish hair that they're going to go after next.
I think it's that there's another black girl that's on there. I think she's black. She's beautiful. But I think they were like kind of talking about her being like there for followers or something.
Oh, was it her? Oh.
Yeah, it was the one that was like, I guess, is she like a cheerleader or a dancer for some team or something? But
a couple of them are.
It was like last week, like when they did like the bad bitch segment. She was like one of the leading ones. But anyways, that looked like it was her that they were framing to be like the next like villain of the upcoming episode. You know, because I was like, where's the drama going to come from now that like, you know, it seemed like everybody else is like pretty chill, but it always happens. It really does. Yeah, I mean, what do we see from next week's episode? They're
going to the Bahamas. It looks like there's going to be, mostly like that kind of drama. And it looks like Zach's going to be sending people home on like one-on-one dates or something.
Oh, man. I am enjoying the season so far. How about you? What are you thinking?
It's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like as annoying as it usually is for me. I mean,
I'm happy that we just nipped the Christina shit in the bud.
Yeah.
I would have hated if that, like, honestly, like, I was surprised that she didn't, because I'm used to the formula of this show of, like, dragging out that kind of shit for 2 extra weeks than it needs to be.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm, like, enjoying Zach as a lead. You know, It seems like he's not there for the bullshit.
Right, but we still don't know anything about him, and I feel like that we're still very surface level on all of this shit. Like, everything still feels like very much so, like, canned responses that you would find in a dating app. Like, I feel like we haven't really gotten much, which, I mean, we're only on week 3, so I get that, but still.
What else is coming out of Bachelor Nation?
Yes, so we have Clare got married at a very intimate wedding ceremony in Sacramento to, you know, her fiance, now husband, Mascot Sports CEO Ryan Dawkins. So I guess her dress had gotten stolen out of her car right before this, so she had to get a replacement dress last minute, but she still said it was the perfect dress, her dream dress. And I'm just interested. This seems very fast. They got engaged back in October. I think they only dated for like a little less than a year. But I mean, like, they're like what, like 42, 47. So I guess like
still,
that
can't. I mean, Claire's a beautiful woman. Like, you know, I think she's like hot. But that can only go so far. If like for some reason she just has a type of personality that just ends up coming out over time, where it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like maybe that is. I hope for the best for them, but I mean, it seems like one of those things. Like as people get to know Clare more, like things just end up like kind of unraveling, and you know, because this is like we've seen Clare for a long time and stuff. So for it to happen that fast, like I'm hoping it works out for them and stuff. But who knows? So good for her. And what else is going on?
Yeah, Hannah G and Dylan Barbour finally announced that they have a wedding date, because, you know, they're supposed to get married, I think, in 2020, I think last year, and then they postponed it because they wanted to save more money to buy a new house and like whatever. And so then they finally announced their new wedding date, and it's this August. So they're pretty, she's like, you would think after, you know, 4 years of being engaged, we would like, you know, we would have really thought through and planned the timing and everything, but she's like, it's in 6 months. And this is, you know, we haven't really finalized anything but the time and the location. So
yeah, I guess I never really saw like I don't know. They just don't match to me for some reason.
I know, but they've been together for like ever since Paradise. So
yeah, I mean, I think they just like maybe. I mean, they obviously like each other, but you know, they find value in that Bachelor relationship type stuff.
I guess I don't know.
But it doesn't seem like the Bachelor franchise like highlights them as much. You know, like they never talk about Hannah G and Dylan.
No,
you know, as Bachelor
because she like was in like a love triangle when she was on Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a win for Dylan, man. I'd be trying to get married to her as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else?
Astrid, Locke, and Kevin Wendt are expecting their second baby together. So I guess, she's been on a different, like a fertility journey and things. And so egg retrieval, put the stuff back in and everything like that. So that's exciting for them. They're going to have a second baby. They already have a 14-month-old. So yeah, good.
Congrats to them.
And then also Victoria Fuller just announced how she is starting a podcast because all these fucking Bachelor Nation folks think they need a podcast. And it's going to premiere on Valentine's Day. It's going to be called Uncensored Saints. And it's going to cover all things from, personal growth, relationships, religion, whatever people want to talk about. Like, so literally anything.
A safe space.
A safe space.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, she better bring it with some good content because, like, this will just
How long
be...
do you think it's going to last for a while?
No, I don't. I mean, like I said, I mean, if she takes, like, the Nick Viall path, possibly, like, I could see her being, like, that. I mean, she is an interesting person. Depending on the guests, like, if she thinks she's going to be, like, a call her daddy or something, I don't know. Also, like, just doing a weekly podcast is a lot. Like, I don't know if, like, she's got some deal where all she has to do is, like, show up and they do the whole thing. But...
I'm sure. I'm sure she's not cutting the audio.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, a lot of these people do. But, we'll just have to see if she can keep up with it. And, when she's done it for, like, a couple months and no one's listening, are you going to keep doing it or do you just stop? Like, I don't know. For us... I don't really think about, of course we think about listeners and growth and all that stuff, but like, to be honest, like I like just doing the show as an outlet. I love doing something with you. Like, I just enjoy doing it and hopefully that translates to people that find us and, is the audience that enjoys listening to us. So, I don't know. I mean, I wish her the best.
Wish her the best of luck.
I don't really enjoy the name Uncensored Saints. Like,
it's
I feel
weird.
like she thought it was like super clever and
I think she thought it was like real edgy.
Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't stand out to me. But whatever. Yeah, so that's it for pretty much Bachelor Nation news, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so make sure you guys, are subscribing to the YouTube, finding us like on Instagram, whatever you're gonna do. Leave us a comment. What do you think? Are you gonna be listening to Victoria Fuller's podcast? Let us know in the comments. What do you think of the word toxic? Do you think like what was the word that people used before that, if it was used? What do you think of Clare Crawley getting married so fast? Are you gonna miss Brianna on the show? Are you gonna miss Christina on the show? What do you think really happened? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll be back next week with week 4 of Bachelor Nation updates and Bachelor stuff. So yeah, V,
those were good questions.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. I've been working on my question game. Do you think they got better? That was a fake question. That was a fake question. All right, here we go.
Future Bachelor Podcast.